All right, we are doing Hotline 2 right now. Well, we're not doing Hotline 2. We're going to continue working on Hotline 2, sort of a passion project of mine. It's gonna be my personal gaming system. And last time we hit a roadblock because I was actually missing some fittings that were required to do some pretty cool bends that I had in mind. So I actually had to wait for EK to send over some more supplies. And sure enough, they pulled through. They actually even called upon their friends over at performancepcs.com to get the items shipped to me even faster because they have, of course, a bunch of inventory there. So huge shout out to both those guys. Performancepcs.com, go ahead and check them out. They're a great retailer that I use all the time, as well as EK Waterblocks. Thank you guys so much for getting this stuff over in timely fashion, but that's besides the point. We're working on Hotline 2 today, so I'm pretty pumped. And of course we have a furry little friend here. Hey stinky little boy, what are you doing in here? You're not allowed in here. So now that I'm working from home again, be prepared to see copious amounts of cat hair on me in almost every video. Is there any on me right now? Yeah, I think that's one right there. We're giving you away. Hey, you wanna get out? You wanna come out? Here, go on. Yeah, I don't want you here either. And one more thing before we move on to the build, I just want to give you guys a quick look at the shooting room as of now. Still lots of work to be done, but here's the big metal cabinet with a lot of my goodies in it. It's kind of messy right now, but this is sort of a B-roll set. I guess one of two B-roll sets for smaller items. If I have mini PCs, peripherals. I don't have many other plans for it right now. I might wall mount the monitor and clean up the cable management, obviously, but for now it's just kind of a pretty looking B-roll table that's also left pretty flexible so I can use it for whatever I need. On the wall to the right of that, I've kept it pretty empty because I need a lot of space, as much space as I can have for all the shooting equipment, the cameras and lights. That stuff takes up a lot of space, so it's pretty barren over here. On this wall, I have a really slim kind of storage shelf with all my screws and various accessories that I use frequently. We also have some batteries. I want to turn this into like a charging station. Maybe I'll wall mount it to save even more space. There's also a toilet bowl coffee mug that is serving no purpose at the moment. I should probably move that. And then we've got this. This is sort of like the presenting area where I'm going to be doing dialogue and stuff for reviews and unboxing videos and things like that. It's also where awesome hardware will be streamed from every Tuesday. You can see it's sort of a similar layout to the set I already had. You can see it's got that desk layout that I stole from Paul many years ago. The desk right here is actually a vertical desk, electric desk, so I can raise it. This is actually really handy. Keeps my back from hurting when I'm working on systems and things like that. This corner of the table is also going to serve as a secondary B-roll table for larger items that can't fit over here. So things like full-blown systems, computer cases, and the like. I definitely need some acoustic foam paneling in here just to kill the echo. Sorry, I'm also using the built-in mic on the camera. I thought I was recording to the Tascam to my lavalier, but it's the battery died. So crappy audio, sorry. But that's it. I'm gonna shut up now. Now you guys know what the shooting room looks like and what my sort of plans are moving forward. Hotline 2. We are ready for bending. I'm ready to bend some tubes, damn it. I've been waiting for this moment for way too long. I've got all the fittings installed, so I know exactly which runs I need to make. And don't worry, these aren't two-tone fittings. They're only silver because the caps aren't on them yet. Once the caps are on, they'll be all black. I know some people on Twitter were freaking out about that, but what else is new? All right, I'm ready for bending. Let's bend some tubes. right, tubes are done. This is actually the next day. It took me about 3 hours to bend all of these. Yeah, I know I'm slow, but I was also kind of being sort of a perfectionist, so I really took my time to make every bend just right. And I think the final result, for the bends at least, is really good. Drastically different from the original Hotline, but also has sort of its own funky spin. I'm really digging these two bends right here at the front. These were definitely the most complicated bends as well, because they each had 2 bends in them, and they were fairly long tubes. They're the longest runs in the entire build. The other tubes are all pretty straightforward. There's only maybe 1 bend to each of them, with the exception of this guy. I had to make 2 relatively tight bends, but it's a small tube, so it wasn't that difficult. I pretty much nailed every tube on the first or second try. Actually, this long one right here, I got on the first try somehow. I had to do this other one a couple times though. I think I did it twice. This is also the first custom loop I've ever done with a built-in motherboard VRM water block, so that was kind of fun. You can see the tube up there is actually parallel to the one in front of it, and you almost can't see it from most angles. If you look closely, you can see I used a number of extenders in order to make everything fit just right and align the way I want it to. And then also there was a sort of a T-fitting. There's like a 2-way or 3-way fitting here. I'm only using 2 of the ports though, just so I didn't have to do a super long 3-way bend, or I guess it would be a double bend, just to save me a little bit of headache. The tube in the back isn't perfectly straight, mainly because it's interfering with the pump res. It's all wedged in the back too, so you don't really see it much. Oh yeah, and then also the drain valve is kind of hiding right here, tucked away. Bloop. This is the lowest point in the loop, so it made sense to put it right here. Kind of like how it just tucks away like that when I'm not using it. So as some of you guys who've been following the build series know, I've been experimenting with different colors for the coolant, mixing dyes and things like that. I still have some ways to go. I'm getting there, but it's not gonna be ready in time for this video. So instead of just ending the video here, I'm actually gonna fill up the loop with distilled water and do a little leak test. That way you guys can at least see some liquid flowing through the system, and should look pretty sweet. So let's do that now. Okie dokie, leak test is in progress. We got the pump running and the water is circulating through the loop. However, the rest of the system is powered off just to avoid any kind of accidental damage or shorting. And actually, I did encounter my first leak already. I didn't get it on camera, and this is not gonna surprise any of you, but I actually made these 2 tubes a little too short, so they weren't clearing their respective O-rings, meaning there was no effective seal in place. So when I started filling the loop for the first time, water just started to pool around this bottom GPU here, which wasn't panic-inducing at all. But I quickly dried it up. Of course, there might still be some moisture inside of the card. As long as I don't power this on for the next 24 hours, we should be good, but everything else from that point forward was pretty smooth. The bad news for you guys is that since I'm waiting a whole day before I power the system on at all, just to be extra safe, you guys will not be able to see the system powered on in this video, which means you'll have to wait for part 3, where we finally nailed down the fluid color, configure the RGB lighting, and only then will you see Hotline 2 in its final form. But I'm really liking how it's coming along so far. Look at those bends. Them bends. Them bends. So that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, toss a like on it if you enjoyed it, and get subscribed to the channel for more tech stuff coming at you really soon. Have a good one, guys. I will see you all in the next video.